saturated, unsaturated. Are you familiar with these science terms describing the properties of solution? What are these properties that make solution saturated and unsaturated? Specifically, at the end of this lesson, you will learn to investigate the properties of unsaturated and saturated solution. Hello my dear students! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is me, Teacher Tin, your science teacher for today. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for more updates in Science 7. There are cases where contaminants are present in some substances. So when we say contaminants, ano ba ibig sabihin nito? Diba when we say contaminants, these are the substances, it can be elements or compounds that are toxic, persistent, and they are liable to bioaccumulate or other substances or groups of substances which give rise to an equivalent level of concern. Kasi ito yung mga toxic, mga toxins na masama. At ano yung process na ginagamit para matanggal itong mga impurities na to? So, ang tawag natin dun is recrystallization. So, yung mga crystals na yon, dinidissolve sila sa hot solvent, forming a solution. How did it happen? So, when the solvent is cooled, ayan, kapag yung solvent na ginamit ay lumamig na, so the tendency is the compound is no longer as soluble. So, ang mangyayari niyan, it will precipitate out of the solution, leaving other materials still dissolved. NaCl is the chemical formula for salt, representing a 1:1 ratio of sodium and chloride ions. Let's say, for example, you dissolve salt in water, and then the solution will be unsaturated as this can still accommodate more salt. There will come a time that these salt are completely dissolved. But when you add more salt, so the additional salt remained undissolved. So this is what actually happens kapag ito ay saturated solution. Okay, look at this diagram. So, dito sa ating first setup, meron tayong 30 grams of NaCl, which is the sodium chloride o yung asin. And then, mag-prepare tayo ng 100 ml of water. So, when you combine them, so itong itsura ng unsaturated solution containing 100 ml of water and 30 grams of NaCl. And look at the picture. So, walang natirang kahit konting residue. So, while on the second picture, we have 40 grams of NaCl and 100 ml of water. So, when you mix them, and as you can see here, as you can observe, there is an additional 4 grams of sodium chloride remains undissolved. So, merong konti pa na hindi lahat natunaw, kaya na-remain siyang nandito sa ilalim. So, this is the saturated solution containing 100 ml of water and 36 grams of NaCl, and the remaining 4 grams remains undissolved and it settled at the bottom of the beaker. So, how do you differentiate the difference between unsaturated? Okay, how do you differentiate unsaturated and saturated based on this picture? So, it's very obvious. So, pag may nakita tayong undissolved solute, that is saturated. And if all the solute were dissolved in a given solvent, so that is unsaturated. Actually, class, we have 3 kinds of saturation. The first one is the saturated solution. The second one is the unsaturated solution. And the third one is the supersaturated solution. So, let us define first the saturated solution. So, when we say saturated solution, it is a solution with solute that dissolves until it is unable to dissolve anymore, leaving the undissolved substances at the bottom. So yan, kaya pag saturated, may kaunti pang natitirang solute doon sa ilalim ng inyong beaker, for example, or kung saan man kayo nagtunaw nun. So again, pag saturated, there's a little amount of solute undissolved in your solvent. And when we say unsaturated solution, it is a solution with less than the saturated solution that completely dissolves, leaving no remaining substances. So, wala kang makikitang kahit kaunting amount ng solute na hindi na-dissolve. Ibig sabihin, kapag sinabi nating unsaturated, sobrang dissolve lahat ng solute na ginamit mo. Wala kang makikita kahit konting residue or any amount of solute na undissolved. And ano naman yung supersaturated? So, when we say supersaturated, this is a solution with more solute than the saturated solution. That contains more undissolved solute than the saturated solution because its tendency is to crystallize and precipitate. So, yun naman ang supersaturated. Okay, so yung nakikita nyo naman ganitong formula sa inyong mga modules. So, you have the NaCl and then may letter S. And then, may arrow to the left, arrow to the right, and then NaCl, AQ. So, yung S, it stands for solid. So, ibig sabihin, meron tayong salt na naka-solid. And it can be in a form of aqueous solution. So, ibig sabihin, kaya may arrow to the left and arrow to the right, yan, it means reversible reaction yan. So, pwede siyang ma-turn into solid and pwede naman siya maging aqueous solution. So, the question here is, why is that the additional salt cannot be dissolved anymore? Bakit nga ba hindi na lang natutunaw yung dinagdag natin na asin doon sa ating solvent? So, tandaan nyo na, on a molecular level, we know that the action of water causes the individual ions to break apart from the salt crystal and enter the solution, where they remain hydrated by the water molecules. So, ano nangyayari? So, what happens here is that some of the dissolved ions collide back again with the crystal and remain there. Ganun ang nangyayari, kaya kung bakit may mga natitira pang mga parang residue. Kasi yung mga na-dissolve na ions, ang nangyayari sa kanila, nagbubungguan ulit sila, nagkakaroon ng collision. Yun yung dahilan kung bakit parang bumabalik sila sa pagiging crystals. Kaya may mga natitirang mga kaunti pang substance doon sa ilalim ng ating beaker or ng any lalagyan. And we have this term, recrystallization. When we say recrystallization, it is the process of dissolved solute returning to solid state. Nangyayari yung recrystallization kapag dumating sila sa point kung saan yung solid salt na na-dissolve ay naging kapantay na niya yung rate kung saan ito namang dissolved solute ay nag-crystallizing. Kumbaga, na-reach na yung point na nagkakaroon na ng collision between these ions, kaya bumabalik nga sa pagiging crystals. And when that point is reached, the total amount of dissolved salt remains unchanged. And we have this solution equilibrium. So when we say solution equilibrium, it is the physical state described by the opposing processes of dissolution and recrystallization occurring at the same rate. So the solution equilibrium for the dissolving of the sodium chloride can be represented by one of the two equations. So yung pinakita ko nga sa inyo kanina, this one. So these equations shows the changes of state back and forth. Yan. Kaya nga, di ba may arrow na pa left and pa right? Yun sasabi ko sa inyo na reversible reaction. Ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon ng back and forth between the solid and the aqueous solution. And the preferred equation, this equation, it also shows the dissociation that occurs as an ionic solid dissolved. Di ba kaya natin sinabing solution equilibrium? Ang sabi nga ay physical state describing the
opposing dissolution or opposing processes of dissolution. So, ano bang nangyayari doon sa saturated solution? Kapag kasi na-reach na nila yung solution equilibrium point kung saan wala ng solute yung pwede pang ma-dissolve, yun yung pagkakataon, yun yung moment na yung solution ay nagiging saturated. Kumbaga may limitation din yung pagdi-dissolve nila. So kaya, kumbaga parang na-reach na nila yung pasensya nila para i-dissolve yung solute. So pag na-reach nila yung point na yun, na yung tinatawag nga na solution equilibrium point, so kahit anong gawin, hindi na talaga madi-dissolve yung solute. And when we say saturated solution, it is a solution that contains the maximum amount of solute that is capable of being dissolved. Okay, explain pa natin mabuti. Kunwari, okay, sa temperature na 20 degrees Celsius, so ang maximum amount lang ng sodium chloride na kayang ma-dissolve sa 100 ml of water is 36 grams ng salt. So, 36 grams lang ha, sa 20 degrees Celsius. So, kaya kapag dinagdagan mo pa yon ng konting amount ng salt, yung nadagdag na yon hindi na niya kayang i-dissolve. Kasi nga, na-reach na niya yung solution equilibrium point. And, of course, yun lang talaga yung kayang i-dissolve sa 20 degrees Celsius using 100 ml of water. Yun lamang 36 grams ng salt. So, kung dadagdagan mo pa yan ng 4 grams ng salt, hindi na niya kaya. Kaya siya ay magiging saturated solution. The question is this, Ma'am, what if dagdagan namin yung tubig para ma-dissolve na yung inad namin kanina na 4 grams of salt? So, ang tanong nyo is, what if more water is added to the solution instead? Siyempre, ang mangyayari niyan, yung sodium chloride would be capable of dissolving in additional solvent. So, ang tawag na natin doon ay magiging na siyang unsaturated solution. And when we say unsaturated solution, it is a solution that contains less than the maximum amount of solute that is capable of being dissolved. At itong figure nga ito na pinakita natin kanina at yung in-explain na rin natin kanina. So, this figure illustrates the process and shows the distinction between the saturated and the unsaturated solution. At kailan nga nangyayari yung sinasabi nating solution equilibrium? Yan, nag-e-exist lang itong solution equilibrium kapag pantay na ang rate ng dissolving sa rate ng recrystallization. For learning task number 1, we will be doing a simple activity. Okay, and then we're going to identify whether the solution is saturated or unsaturated. And then you're going to give your reason for your answer. Are you ready? Okay, let's start. Hi! Yan. So, in our activity, we are going to prepare 2 cups. Okay, 1 cup of water and another 1 cup of water. And of course, we have the sugar, and we have 1 tablespoon or 15 ml of whatever we are going to measure. Okay, so para saan to? Ito yung pang susukat natin dito sa sugar. So the first step is, of course, you have to prepare 2 cups. So dapat pantay sila. And then if you have your pen, so you label this, okay, cup A, and then this one is cup B. So what we're going to do is to put 1 tablespoon of sugar for each cup. And then, hahaluin natin siya. And pagkatapos na matunaw na siya dito sa tig 1 cup, so yung cup A, dadagdagan natin siya ng another 1 tablespoon of sugar. Silipin natin. Okay, so para mas makita natin, isasalin ko siya dito sa clear. So unahin natin itong cup A. So, ito yung dinagdagan natin ng sugar. Ayan. Tingnan nyo yung meron sa loob. Ayan. Di ba meron pa siyang mga hindi natunaw? Ayan, tingnan nyo. Ayan. Ayan. Ito yung cup A, ha? Cup A. Yung 2 cups of sugar. Ay, mali. Ito yung may 2 tablespoon of sugar. Tingnan nyo. So, ang dami pa niyang mga undissolved na sugar. This is cup A. Look at this. Yan, ang dami niyang nasa ilalim, 'di ba?
In cup A or solution A shows a saturated solution, wherein a solution with solute that dissolves until it is unable to dissolve anymore, leaving the undissolved substances at the bottom.
Ito yung cup A. So, sobrang dami pa niya. And ito naman yung cup B. Ayan. Walang natira. Ito naman yung sa cup B na hindi natin dinagdagan ng sugar, o 'di ba? Na-dissolve siya lahat.
While cup B or solution B shows the unsaturated one, wherein a solution that is completely dissolves, leaving no remaining substances.
For learning task number 1, so you have to complete this chart. So meron dyan type of solution, solution A, solution B. You will write saturated or unsaturated. You will write your observations that will support your answer. At pinakita ko na naman sa video kung ano ba ang na-observe natin sa solution A and solution B. Yung solution A, yun yung cup A natin, yung may 2 tablespoon of sugar. And then cup B, that is only 1 tablespoon of sugar. Okay, let's proceed in answering your learning task number 2. So, let me see if you know the difference between saturated and unsaturated. Okay, what if a 500 grams of flour completely dissolved in 1 liter of water? Saturated or unsaturated? Okay, that is unsaturated. That's correct. How about number 2? When 100 grams of flour was added in the solution, the additional flour was not dissolved completely and settled. Okay, that is saturated. How about number 3? The solutions cannot hold any more solute when added in the solution. That is saturated. Number 4. 1 pack of gelatin powder completely dissolved in 400 grams of water. Completely dissolved. Yeah, that is unsaturated. And last, number 5. The milk powder cannot be dissolved anymore in a cup of water. Cannot be dissolved anymore, so may residue. That is saturated. Good work! For learning task number 3, so you're going to write a short paragraph regarding the differences between saturated and unsaturated solutions. And since we already discussed the difference between the two, and I know this will be easy for you to answer because na-explain na natin kung anong pagkakaiba ng saturated sa unsaturated. For learning task number 4, this one, okay, make a simple steps that will determine your skills in distinguishing saturated and unsaturated solutions. So, follow the simple guide below. So, may materials dito, ilalagay mo kung ano yung materials na gagamitin mo. Tapos, may steps kayong gagawin. So, para sa akin, so para mas mapadali, di ba meron na tayong, dun sa module nyo, meron na tayong simple activity doon. Sundan nyo lang yon yung steps doon. Tapos, ang gawin nyo, palitan nyo naman siya. So, instead of using sugar, for example, why not gumamit naman kayo ng Milo, or coffee, or milk? So, ganun lang din ang gagawin nyo dyan. Yan. Or pwede rin, pwedeng tubig na lang din ang gamitin yung solvent. So, it's up to you kung anong solvent ang gusto nyong gawin. This is the end of our lesson vlog about week 4, module 4 of your Science 7. So, for our next discussion, week 5 na tayo sa susunod, we will discuss about the concentrations of solution. So, I hope you stay tuned on this channel. This is me once again, Teacher Teen, your science teacher for today's vlog. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for more updates in Science 7. Bye! Oy, naku, hindi ka pa nagsusubscribe. Hala! Mag-subscribe ka na! Ayan, pakipindot na yan. Mag-subscribe nito? Naku, pasado na. Ang mag-subscribe nito, honor student at the end of the school year. Yo! Bye! Thank you! And please leave your comment below. Pupusuan ko yan para sa inyo. Bye! Thank you so much!